Good evening, friends. We are live. It has been a while that I did a video in English, and I thought that it's about time I should also show some respect to my English audience. Um as you know, that I have been struggling in my research for many years now, digging deeper, um, trying to find out the purpose of life. What is life all about? And as theology has been a passion in my family, and as my forefathers, they all preached Islam, religion has always been taken very seriously in my family. But they were not Orthodox Muslim mullahs, or they were not fanatics in any way. My forefathers from my father's side, they were all Sufis, except my dad. My dad, although he appreciated Sufism, he appreciated the ways of the awliya, but he was rather um, not a fanatic guy, but he was a liberal Islamic man until the very end of his life. I did observe subtle change in his understanding of Islam in the last few years of his life. He became more and more orthodox in many issues. Uh, for example, I was shocked when he told me that he didn't find it necessary to engage time in learning music because my son, my eldest son, was learning to play the tabla. So that was quite shocking to me, hearing from a father who loved music all his life, because music has always been appreciated in my family, from my father's side and from my mother's side. So my father told me one day that, by the way, he died about 10 years ago. My father told me one day that, son, um, I'm a, I have always been a voracious reader all my life, but after studying and researching into several um, faculties of life, I I believe that Quran and Hadith have all the solutions for humanity. Um, he said there was almost nothing that you can think of that is not in the Quran or Hadith. Everything is there. All the solutions uh, are there. But I have been finding it almost impossible to digest. I don't agree with this anymore. Rather, I believe that being a man of the 21st century, I'm being bogged down by the traditional understanding of religion. It was my passion as well all my life. I have been a devoted researcher in the field. I also research into several other religions and religious anthropology. And I find it almost impossible to accept that any particular book can offer any kind of comprehensive solution to humanity. Yes, there are books, which were written by many people, and all those, each book, if it is a good book, offers, something particularly good for us. But to to say or to claim that a particular religious book or any book offers comprehensive solution or even offers the total guideline for us, I can't accept this anymore. I'm being frank here. I'm just trying to make it a very informal live video. I just want to make it very informal. I don't like making formal videos anymore. I don't enjoy making formal videos. So just being frank here, my friends, as you probably understand that I have been struggling. The deeper I go, I keep on finding newer reasons not to accept, rather to reject religions, as all religions. But as someone who was born in a Muslim family, Islam has always been my primary area of research. I have researched a lot into the Christian faith. Found it totally unacceptable as well, absurd. There are people who reject religion on a certain issue, and their faith just collapses. For example, someone will find that jihad in Islam was barbaric, and he would just simply give up Islam as a whole. But in my case, I kept on digging deeper and deeper into every aspect of the Islamic faith. And the last leg of it was the Quran. You all know by this time that I believe that hadiths and Quran, in fact, by no means they are connected. And I also believe that Quran is a collection of various manuscripts from various parts of the Arabian Peninsula and Syria and neighboring areas. You can't give credit credit of the Quran to any particular human being. I believe, for several reasons, that it was not even written by any particular man, and it was not even written in a particular period of time. Rather, as I said, it is a collection of writings from several eras. Some probably went back as far back as the 4th or 3rd century even. And some of them were added from the 7th, 8th century. Nevertheless, today what I'm going to discuss is whether Quran has anything to offer. Does the Quran have really anything to offer to someone like me, a man of the 21st century? Does it have anything practical to offer? There are people out there who believe Quran to be a miracle, and they keep coming up with newer reasons, newer interpretations of the Quran, and they keep on engaging mental gymnastics to make Quran compatible with the 21st century, or as the centuries go by, they keep on interpreting the Quran, interpreting the words of Quran, interpreting the Arabic language in such a way that um, they become acceptable or compatible with the changing times. But I'm not a hypocrite. I've never been a hypocrite. I tried to accept Quran by giving up hadiths even. I investigated Quran from the historiographical point of view. It didn't survive. Now, as the last leg, I'm trying to find out if there is any reason at all, let alone taking it as a divine revelation. Is there any practical reason for Quran in my life? Even if I believe there is a God, there is a creator, there is this supreme being who is watching me, do I have to accept Quran as a divine revelation to come to that conclusion, or to accept that conclusion? Yeah, that, hey, there is a God, so you have to believe in Quran. Why? I find the Quran not to have any practical purpose in my life. Zero. No practical utility. It doesn't give any clear understanding of anything. It is, in fact, an unreadable book where verses from here, sentences from there, that paragraph from that century, that paragraph from that inscription, those words from Hebrew, those words from Pahlavi, those words from Syriac. I mean, it is totally an unreadable write-up. So I am struggling. Help me out here. I'm struggling to make a sense of it so that it can have some sort of appeal in my life, some sort of appeal. It doesn't even give me a guideline to live an Islamic life today. When I say Islamic life, I mean the Islamic life that we can have a sense of from hadiths. So if I stick to Quran, I find it totally divorced from hadiths. Hadith is giving me an Islam which is totally not connected with Quran. Then even hadiths are not enough. We have to go to the fatwas, ijmas, qiyas of various imams and all. So it is not enough even to live an Islamic life that Muslims of today live. It doesn't teach me anything about zakat. So I have to go for, the understanding of sadaqah, or charity, and somehow make it um, to mean the same as in zakat. But independently, you have to go head over here and engage in mental gymnastics to justify zakat means financial charity mainly. Because if you read all the verses of the Quran and don't get lost in misconstrued translations, because I've seen that, I've found in a Bengali translation of the Quran, Bengali is my mother tongue, that wrong translations were done. They put down zakat when there should be sadaqah in Arabic. There should be, again, Baitul Atik, but they put it Kaaba there. There should be, again, Masjid al-Haram, but they put Kaaba there. I mean, they have done it intentionally, because even probably the translators are blurred in their understanding of Quran, because they can't really make out any sense of it. Because if they don't translate it in that way, even they can't justify hadiths. So when it comes to religiosity or religious instructions, Quran doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever. It doesn't give me any clear understanding of any ritual in Islam. It doesn't even give me a clear understanding of what oneness of God really means. Because Surah 112 of the Quran is not compatible with various verses of the Quran. For example, Surah, the last line of the last verse of Surah 112 says, Allah is, nobody is equal to him. That means he can't be compared with anyone or anything. But again, it talks about, the Quran talks about Allah having hand, Allah seeing, Allah getting upset. I mean, all kind of human nature is there, as if he's sitting in a throne, as if I'm worshipping a king who is insecure in his kingdom, that someone might declare himself king. He's always concerned. He gets angry. He gets annoyed. And again, Surah 112 says Allah is not in need of anything. He's samad. But at the same time, he's upset. He gets upset. So when do you get upset? So when it comes to religious understandings, Quran by itself is not enough. And Islamic scholars have been struggling over the centuries to help us make sense of Quran. So when it comes to religion, useless. Really, I'm being honest here. And there are missing verses there. For example, when it tells about the story of Abraham, when he warns people who were worshiping idols and statues, and he was telling them, well, you will see what I do when you go away. Then he obviously, when the idolaters went away, he broke the idols or statues. The men came back and they were wondering who did this. So that if you read those verses carefully, you see there are verses missing there. And there are always options of translating and interpreting every word in so many ways, because over the centuries, we know words keep on changing in their meaning. For example, he's gay. What does it mean in English now? Most of the people say he's gay. Oh, gay means happy. No, gay doesn't mean primarily happy anymore now. Gay means somebody whose sexual orientation that he's homosexual. So every language goes through evolution. Every language keeps on changing. That's why we have people who are researching into linguistic anthropology. Quran has gone through the same process. It has lost many of its original meanings. What actually salah or prayer or salah? Are they the same? Does salah mean prayer or does it mean contact? People keep on coming up with newer concocted meanings by engaging their mental gymnastics, because it's an age-old struggle for people to cling on to it, to hang on to it, for several reasons I have seen. Firstly, they're afraid of losing their friends and family members. They're scared of repercussions. They're scared of being ostracized. They're scared of not being able to live in their own country anymore. They're scared of being humiliated. They're scared of being assassinated character-wise. They're scared. So this fear or even love for their fellow Muslims force them to keep on coming up with newer understandings of Quranic verses. But we keep on forgetting, hey, doesn't the Islamic history say that Quran was revealed to people of the desert, ordinary people? So in that sense, etymologically, meaning-wise, linguistically, Quran is lost. It doesn't make any, it doesn't serve any purpose to me at all. I have struggled and I have come up with so many meanings, and then it's lost. Then when it comes to trying to make sense of the circumstances of every verse, you can't do it, because Quranic verses keep on jumping here to there to here. This surah number 5, verse number 3 should be the last verse of the Quran, but hey, it is chronologically, it should be at the end, but when it comes to arrangement of the surahs, it's number 5 and it's number 3 verse. Surah number 5, verse number 3. How can it have the last part? Because there's 114 surahs. Doesn't make sense again. So it doesn't serve the purpose of understanding the history of Islam. So what practical purpose is it serving me? If I want to become a good Muslim, as per Quran says, I can't do that, because I don't know what the Quran is trying to tell me. And if I be honest, if I can't make a head or tail of it, people keep on telling me, go seek out the right alim, seek out the right scholar. Who the hell is the right scholar? Every scholar has different opinion. And at the same time, I myself have met hundreds of scholars in my lifetime already, from all over the world. And none of them is being honest, because they can't afford to be honest. If people like Yasir Qadi, if he questions for example, the preservation of Quran, he's humiliated socially, even online. So Islamic scholars can't even think freely. They can't even opine freely. There's always fear of repercussion. So I have seen overwhelming majority of Muslims, they're just simply happy being Muslim as we see in observance of rituals. They don't want to know, they don't want to think, because they really can't afford to think, because they will go mad if they do. Because they will not make sense. So end of the day, if they don't make sense, they will say, find someone who will make sense. They go to make sense to someone and they'll say, you can't ask these questions. Why can't I ask these questions? So when it comes to finding answers, Quran doesn't serve my purpose. As a 21st century man, I cannot really just simply shut my mouth. As a 21st century man, I cannot close my eyes. As a 21st century man, I cannot close my ears. I can't do that. But the Quran is telling me to do that. Because by default, it is useless, purposeless, meaningless. And again, it doesn't teach me the moral traits. I heard that Quran has another name is Furqan. It divides from the right from the wrong. It doesn't really, my friend. It doesn't. Be honest. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't give me moral guidance of anything clearly. I am saying that people are praying for the dead. I should respect the dead. I don't know how, but anyway, pray for them. But there's not a single verse in the entire Quran. There's no clear, explicit verse in the Quran, unambiguous, that I should pray for the dead. There's none. There's one sentence, Rabbir harhuma kama rabbayani sagira. That you are praying to God for your parents. But that, if you read the verse before that, then it will become clear that that verse is for living parents, not the dead ones. There's not a single verse to make me spiritual. There's not a single verse which makes me believe that the Quran is telling me that there is an intelligent soul outside body. So it doesn't even help me spiritually. It talks about us being created in heaven, but it doesn't tell me that when we die, the soul, roh, will have a separate living status, or it will be living separately outside our body. It doesn't say that. Rather, Quran says that we will be rebuilt to our fingertips. What is the need of our body being rebuilt to the fingertips? Why? Why do we have to be resurrected with a body if soul will be judged? So these kind of spiritual complex questions are not being answered. And being an intelligent man of the 21st century, I have the right to ask. And again, as I'm saying, it doesn't give me moral guidance. It doesn't give me any clear idea what jihad actually means. Although I have to go to tafsir, I have to go to hadith, I have to go to fatwa, I have to go to ijma, I have to go to qiyas to make a sense, some sort of sense that there is a bigger jihad, there's a smaller jihad, there's a jihad of the soul, there's a jihad of the arms, jihad of the sword. I mean, we are lost. But the Quran doesn't give me any clear picture. It just instructs me in one jihad where there's always fight. I understand their fight might be necessary sometimes, but there must be a clear understanding or even a definition by God what jihad actually meant to God. Because for the lack of that, I see people who are calling themselves Islamic State. They're calling themselves to be real and true warriors of God. And again, there are people who are saying, we're condemning them as non-Muslims and calling themselves liberal Muslims or actual Muslims. I mean, where do we stand? What about loving parents? It's not even clear there. What is rape? What is not rape? What is consent in sexual intercourse? Where is it necessary? Where is it? Is there a reason why I should not be bothered much about sexual consent from the slaves? Then, if I need to take consent from the slave to have sex with her, how is she different from my wife? Doesn't make sense. Absolutely not. The Quran is not clear when it comes to morality on a single issue. It's not clear. Then in Surah Ma'idah, it is telling me that I should cooperate with even non-Muslims in doing good deeds, or even compete with them in doing good deeds. Then it's telling me that in Surah 9, I should kill them whenever I find them. Now, Islamic scholars saying that, oh, hello, hang on, this is to do with a particular war. I said, okay, that's fine. But Islamic history, if I do research in historiography, it doesn't matter, it doesn't add up. Because I cannot find existence of Muhammad, I can't find existence of Abu Bakr, Omar, in history, in any way, by any means. There's no inscription, there's no coin, there's no paper, nothing. It doesn't make sense. So how does it serve my purpose? It doesn't even tell me clearly that what kind really means, what kindness really means. Because I have seen in Surah Tawbah, Allah is saying that Muslims, they get satisfaction by taking revenge in their hearts. They get satisfaction by giving their adversaries ruthless death, insulting deaths. So if God is teaching his slaves, I take excuse with the word slave, but anyway, slaves, Allah is teaching his slaves to give the adversaries insulting, humiliating deaths, to have satisfaction in the hearts. How does it make sense? How can I have a moral guidance from it? How can I? So when I'm a man of the 21st century, I'm living a very complex, complicated life. When I'm living in a scientifically developed world, when I know that, how to operate a mobile phone, which probably would have been impossible for me even to explain what it would mean to a man if I could bring him here from the past. If, for example, if I could bring any of the companions of Muhammad by time machine to my time, probably he would go mad seeing things all around us. He'd go mad, he'd lose his sanity. That's how life has become. It has become so complex. And we are living with this complex living. And a man who knows how to adapt with this complex living can't even make a sense of Quran, a simple book. No. If I have to keep on making meanings to make that compatible, then that is a struggling. The book is a struggling to keep pace with a man like me of the 21st century. Why the hell should I be struggling to keep pace with a dead book? That book is struggling to keep pace with me. because my thinking has progressed. I'm thinking about exoplanets. I'm thinking about supernova. I'm thinking about galaxies. I'm thinking about the deepest of the deep. I'm thinking of the highest of the mountains. I'm thinking about human cloning. I'm thinking about complex political issues, whether Marxism has anything to do with Maoism, theocracies of various parts of the world. My thinking ability has progressed tremendously. So if that's the case, why do I have to accept a particular book which was allegedly written or revealed 1400 years ago? It's defined simply because it said things which are quite simple for today. Give charity, okay, we do. How much? Well, depends. We have common sense. We have various scholars who are experts in charity. We'll talk to them. There are charitable organizations. We'll talk to them. Cross-border, cross-country, cross-religion, whatever. I don't have to take this book to love my parents because, I have read Victor Hugo. I don't have to love the poor, reading a few pages, very few verses about the poor. I don't have to read Surah Doha to help the needy. I have read La Miserable. I have read writings of Leo Tolstoy. I'm finding it at last coming to the conclusion of my time, coming to of research. Now I'm writing my book. I refuse to be bogged down religion-wise, theologically, 1400 years behind. My spiritual understanding, even my religious understanding, they have to evolve. They have to become modernized. They have to become spiritually advanced. Why the hell should I be bothered about haram food and halal food when I have doctors to tell me, advise me, Mufassal, red meat is not good for you. You have some heart condition. Mufassal, you should eat that more. They will tell me what is haram and halal. Surgeon General of my country will tell me what is haram and halal. So, what practical purpose does it serve me? I don't have really, unless, as I said, I'm engaging in mental gymnastics. There is no awe factor there, my friends. Absolutely nothing. There is no awe factor whatsoever. Zero. There's no awe factor to make me spellbound to say, wow, I have no choice but to hang on to it. It doesn't even touch me universal brotherhood clearly when I hear verses like Fi nar jahannam khalidina fiha. I'm condemning the people to hell. I'm not going to condemn even my worst enemy to hell because I will expect him to correct himself before he dies. Where should I go? I don't know. Will I have a life after death? I don't think so. Doesn't have to be. But if there is, okay, I've been a good man to the best of my ability. So if scientists are trying their best. I think they're the best choice we have to tell us what the hell we are doing here. What is this apparent life all about? But A book allegedly gave us the answer that, hey, you will wake up, you will face the music, you will see angels who will kick your ass, drag you to hell. And there are angels who will say, Wahalan Sahlan, come to heaven. And there are, you know, naked women waiting for me in dozens. I don't have to hear that because it doesn't even give me a good description of heaven today. It doesn't even really give me a really satisfying description of heaven that I can expect today. Because to me, heaven is something where I can have a good time, because my heaven doesn't have to be static, the same thing over and over again. It can have women, it can have birds flying, birds singing, waterfall, it can have river flowing, it can have scientific tools to enjoy, it can have many things. I can be sitting under the banyan tree, I can be hearing the raindrops. Many of the things Quran doesn't even say. Okay, Quran says about river flowing, green grass and women, and that's it. Even in that perspective, it is not good enough for me. So what practical purpose does it serve for a man like me of the 21st century? There's no moral guidelines, clearly, because various writers of today will give you 10 times more resounding guidelines for morality, because morality keeps on evolving. The Quranic morality is static. It doesn't give me a clear picture about God even. I'm not here to worship a king who is insecure. It doesn't give me clear understanding of rituals. Nothing. It keeps on giving me headache, although I have spent decades on it or in it. I have a couple of guests. If you want to ask any question, Lara, you can ask me any question, or if you have any opinion, you can give me. Because I understand Lara is someone who tries to hang on to Quran. Lara is someone who tries to hang on to Quran. But honestly, I'm out of it. Lara, be honest for a change.
Yeah.
Be honest. Absolutely. There is nothing absolutely in Quran, absolutely nothing that you can tell me, this is the reason this is heavenly, this is divine. There's not a single reason, Lara.
No.
There
Quran
is
has. Why you think there is nothing in Quran? Why you
absolutely
think?
nothing. It's a
No,
junk. It's a junk.
no, no. Why it's a junk? It has everything. You have to understand what Allah says.
Give me one issue about which you feel that this is complete, this is beautiful, and I can't find anything better than this anywhere. One example.
One example, you think, what about Quran says husband, wife?
What about husband, wife?
Husband, wife, you have to respect each other. Quran
There are
says,
many writers. There are many writers who wrote 10 times better.
the writers also copy from Quran or Bible or
So what?
whatever.
So what? Somebody started writing it first. So
So same thing. They took from Quran. They took from
we
Bible.
don't know exactly where they came from, because
They,
loving families, we have cave paintings which
this
are
is
which
from
are which are thousands of years old. Cave paintings,
them.
thousands of years old, where we can see a man is defending his family, his wife, his children. We can have cave paintings, cavemen. So did the Quran take it from the caveman?
Excuse me, caveman. Okay.
Cavemen, people who were living in the caves thousands of years ago.
Mhm.
There are paintings there
Yeah.
where I can see
Yeah.
that a man is standing in front of the elephant to defend his family. So you can't say it was taken from Quran. And there are also, we can see love in other Hindu scriptures as well for their women. We can see love in Bible as well.
Yeah.
We can see love in other scriptures. Why do we have to? I mean, even if Quran said something for the first time, even if,
Yeah.
why do we have to take it as divine? And why can't we move on? For example, Leo Tolstoy
Yeah.
wrote something, or even Karl Marx wrote something for the first time in human history.
Yeah.
And that obviously was accepted by millions of people, changed the world. But that he didn't claim that he was a prophet. He didn't claim that it was a miracle. I mean, scientists keep on inventing new things. So do you call that, you know, they are prophets? So when you say a man, even if one man wrote the book, so what? I mean, there are better books. There are books which were written in every aspect. Thousands of books there, thousands of literature there. So why do we have to struggle with one book? What is it giving me? Morality?
Yeah, of course, Marley.
What morality? I mean, nothing is clear in the Quran. You keep on, I mean, even you keep on coming up with newer translations, newer understanding. I mean, they did, he says this, she says that, this is, all this time, it didn't mean something, it is something totally new meaning. Well, how do you know? That's what I think.
Then, what do you think?
It's garbage.
I agree
Quran,
with you, but there is any new tradition or new book, a divine book we have?
we don't have to
Is
have a
there no?
divine book. We don't have to have a divine book. We can live a
No, no.
perfectly. I mean, you are living in
Now you are the genius or an intellectual, but 20 years ago, you are not like today's Mr. Mufassil Islam. So, if day by day you improve, and now you think Quran is invalid, but we are a general person, we don't think so.
why not?
Why,
Because
why, why should we agree with you?
no, you don't have to
Why
agree.
should we agree with
You
you?
don't have to agree with me. First of all, nobody has to agree with anyone. But at the same time, when intelligent people
Yes.
think and they reach a conclusion, general people who are not that intelligent, eventually they start following him. Eventually. So there is always great thinkers who change history. My question is, if you want to follow something blindly, you can. Obviously, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But the question is, you have to ask yourself: are you being honest? Are you giving enough honesty, time
Yes.
to say this is right? For example, you do study. I know you study a lot, but the question comes: are you being honest to yourself? What if you were not brought up in a Muslim family? What if you were not born in a Muslim family? Would you see the Quran the same way? My understanding is no.
No. If I am like a Christian, then
Yes,
I will follow the Bible. I
right.
will follow the
Right,
Bible.
exactly. So why do we have to take it? For example, there are beautiful verses in the Bible. You can take some of the verses as a guideline.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful verse for you know for a Muslim man to pray for the living parent, not the dead, living parent. Rabbir harhuma kama rabbiyani sagir. But although you don't have to believe in God to understand that you will love your parent when you say these words.
Yeah.
So why do we have to believe that this book is divine? Or why do you have to keep on
Because
quoting from the same book over and over again? When you
because
have
the book says, the Quran says Allah is only one. We We should follow, respect only one person, not more.
Even
Just
if
one.
Quran claims, so what? Even if, you have to believe it because Quran claims it.
What should we do? What should we do then? What should we do? Tell me.
Quran, the logic is circular logic.
Yes.
I believe it because Quran claims it. How does it make sense? You test the Quran.
Why don't you not make a sense? Why?
It is true because my mother said it. How does it make sense?
No. Now we are researching. We are trying to.
That's what I'm saying. So to claim that it is true.
Yes.
Because Quran claims it is true. It is circular logic. I'm not being disrespectful to Quran or anything. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just being honest. I don't find any single reason for me to accept Quran in my life. Because even if I believe in God, or a creating power, I don't need the. There are many people in the world who believe in one creator. They are not religious. They don't believe in any divine book. Even being a man of the 21st century, my understanding of creator or the how the universe was created is much more complex than even Imam Abu Hanifa could have ever imagined. I'm much more well informed than Imam Bukhari was ever informed. I'm much more well versed about the world on the top of my fingertips than any Islamic scholar 1,000 years ago. I know the world better and more than any of the greatest Islamic scholars 1,000 years ago. Even you know more. Even any of us, any of the audience members here know more than Abu Bakr, Omar, if they ever lived. Even Muawiyah, they know better because they can investigate in 5 minutes. Where are we standing? We're standing in the 21st century, having a laptop, internet. This is miracle, if there is any miracle. So why should we be bothered about having to respect a book so much that we call it divine without any logic? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. To me, it doesn't make sense.
What makes sense for you? What kind of book makes sense for you?
The book. I believe a man.
You are every day reading lots of books.
I believe a man of the 21st century should be having an open mind. He should be reading, collecting information or understanding from any great source, any honest researcher. I should be able to read from an atheist scholar on a particular issue. I should be able to read from a Hindu scholar on a particular issue. I should be able to read from a Muslim scholar on a particular issue. It doesn't have to be that I have to concentrate my life going around a book, because Muslims, 99% of the Muslims of today don't even read the Quran because they don't find any reason to. They can live a perfectly so-called Islamic life without ever reading the Quran. How many of Bangladeshi Muslims ever read the Quran? Honestly, not even 10%.
They just recite, not understanding.
No, they don't even need to understand. They don't, because Quran doesn't have any applicability in their lives. Because the way they pray, the way they fast, the way they do everything, they wear the clothes, they brush the teeth. This is Islam today. Being honest, this is Islam today. So to live an Islamic life like that, they don't need the Quran. The only time they need the Quran, only time when they pray and utter the verses. And even then, they don't know the meaning what they're saying. So what is the Quran in their life of an ordinary Muslim? Nothing.
Their mental satisfaction is something.
Quran is nothing. It is not impacting a Muslim's
for
life.
you, it's nothing. But
no, listen to me.
You are like me.
No, listen to me. Even you, for example, when you go to a mosque, you
Yeah.
see thousands of people. You will see many of them are very Islamic, apparently, wearing
Yeah.
beard, wearing cap, and eating halal food, or even wearing clothes above their anklet.
Yeah.
Their wife is wearing hijab, niqab. I mean, so-called Islamic life, but in fact, they never read the Quran even because they don't need to. Quran is offering them nothing. Quran doesn't tell them wear the beard. Quran doesn't tell them wear the hijab that way or niqab. It doesn't tell you how to many times you wash your hands. It doesn't tell you which salah and how to wear, how to offer it, or how many rakas. So Quran, in fact, is not playing any role in your life already. It doesn't have any impact in your life already. It doesn't affect your life. It doesn't affect your Islamic life even. It doesn't, because
Actually,
you are not Islamic according to Quran. I mean, in the Quran
yes.
wise, according to Quran wise,
Yes. It's the truth.
I mean, whatever you're doing, it has nothing to do with Quran. So if that's the case,
Yeah. That's
how
the
why should I be or any Muslim be bothered about Quran? Because they're not bothered.
because they don't know. That's why
They
they
don't
don't
know. They don't have to know.
but they do believe. They do believe. This
They
is really good.
believe in the sake of believing, but in fact, they have no impact of Quran in their life. Zero.
It's a, they follow Bukharis. That's the problem.
Okay, what to do to follow Quran? You tell me. If they do, they follow Quran. Tell me how. How can anyone follow Quran?
Because they should, first of all, they should uh, teach, learn Arabic word day by day.
No,
After
they will
they
be
will know,
they will be in bigger trouble.
because they don't know anything right now. They
They will
don't know
be
anything.
if they learn really, if they
Yeah,
learn
yeah.
Arabic, if they research into Quranic linguists like I have done,
Uh-huh.
they will they will be in bigger trouble because the Quran
Yes.
doesn't have any serenity in the use of words. Here, the same word used in Hebrew, elsewhere the same word used in Arabic, other place the same word used in Syriac, and so it's all jumbled up. And the Quran, even the surahs, independently don't make sense. Surah Fil, we have grown up, we have grown up believing Surah Fil has something to do with elephant marching towards Kaaba. But if you read Surah Fil, it doesn't even utter the word Kaaba. It doesn't even utter the word house. It doesn't even utter the word that he wanted to destroy the house. So independently, Surah Fil, if anybody reads, he will say, hello, what has that got to do with the Kaaba? Then another scholar will say, okay, you have to read Surah Quraysh and Fil together. Why? And some scholars will say Surah Fil and Surah Quraysh are in fact one surah. Doesn't make sense. So Quran by itself even is garbage. It's garbage, Lara. Be honest, it's garbage. I mean, when it comes to, I mean,
Look,
if I say Prophet, peace be upon him, I always show respect, even if he never existed, because I don't want to hurt anyone's feeling. But I'm being as much sympathetic, as much respectful in my words as possible. But I'm saying, even the perception of Muhammad, beg your pardon, is confusing in Quran. Totally confusing. Because there's not a single verse in the Quran that said, oh Muhammad, I have given you this book, Quran. It's not there. But there is, oh Maryam, oh son of Maryam, oh Moses, oh Abraham. But there's not a single verse to say, oh Muhammad, I've given you this Quran. It says, oh Rasul. Rasul can be anyone. So I'm struggling to make a sense of it. It doesn't make sense. So if it doesn't make sense, how is it applicable?
who wrote the Quran? Who wrote the?
Not a single person wrote the Quran. It is collected from various
Them
sources.
from
From
but
Hellenistic period,
Muslim
it has been taken. Some parts of it have been taken from Bible. Then, if I say it is taken from Bible, they say it's miracle because they're confirming the same book. Then the whole chapter will be reproduced. Why? What's the purpose of reproducing the whole chapter? Or only a few words here and there. Surah Yusuf is, it's totally reproduced from Bible. Word
not
for word.
not everything, not everything.
90%, okay. 90%.
No,
But
no.
90%. 90%. 90%. I put it side by side. I put it side by side for you guys. 90%.
No. 101% is still separate, both Quran and Bible.
There are, I'm saying,
I think it's a
an
100% of
example.
Talmud and Bible.
Example, 90% of the Surah Yusuf is the same copy from Bible, 90%. But again,
Almost.
and again, when it comes to story of Adam, scattered all over. I will ask you this simple question. Was Adam a human being? Was Adam a human being?
Absolutely not.
Bible says.
Quran doesn't say that. It
Bible
doesn't
says
say
It's a
that.
system. It's a system, human being system.
So the question is, how can we come to a conclusion that it makes a sense of this? So if I rather avoid all this junk and do my own research, and if you believe in God, believe in God. If you don't believe in God, don't believe in God. But to be worried about 24/7, what has that book said? How can I interpret it to give a newer meaning? It's a waste of energy.
Okay, but I want to say Surah Yasin. Then Yasin, the first Yasin. Then Yasin wal Quranil Hakim. So who is Yasin?
This is another thing. Because I have seen other parts in some other part of the Quran. This word Yasin was in fact tricked by translators, Arabic grammarians, to wipe out the understanding that Yasin is someone's name. In fact, Yasin is someone's name. That's what it comes to. Then again, ordinary meanings of Quran, for example, ordinary things, for example, Alif, Lam, Mim, Zalik, these are nonsense rhymes, right? This is saying stupid. Stupid. I have to use the word stupid. Stupid linguists of the past. They couldn't understand this simple thing that in various parts of the world these are linguistic geniuses. For example, in English they say fi fi fu fam. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Fi fi fu fam is a meaningless nonsense rhyme. Then we also say hing ting chot jadu tona. Hing ting chot doesn't make any sense. These are called nonsense rhymes. The Quran has the nonsense rhyme. Alif, Lam, Mim, Taha. These are nonsense rhymes. It doesn't have to have a meaning.
Then what about Dr. Kashif Khan, Dr. Rashad Khalifa, and
liars? Liars. They're all liars. Hypocrites.
How do we?
They're all hypocrites. They're not brave enough. No, I don't trust any of them. They are finding it very hard.
I have something to say.
One sec. I will come to you. It is. They are finding it very hard. They're finding it very hard to face the possible threat they might receive if they'll be honest. So they're not man enough. They're not being man enough to accept that these are all garbage. Yes, go on, Munshi. Go ahead.
As a monotheist view, I have some question. One is that what's the reason or what's the main thing that Allah sent verse regarding the marriage of adopted son to Rasul?
Nothing.
As per Surah Azab. You know where?
Well, it doesn't say. It doesn't say that there was someone like by that name. This is not even mentioned there. But again, you know, this story was taken from Bible.
Yes.
And my question is, why should I even be bothered? Because this is not clear. Throughout history, this story is not clear. So if it's not clear, why should I be bothered even? As far as I know, my culture doesn't permit me to marry my daughter-in-law. It doesn't permit me. My culture. Forget about what religion says. My culture doesn't permit me. Arabic culture, even in the 7th, 8th century, people used to marry their daughter-in-law. People used to marry their niece, not direct niece, but wife's niece, or you know, some relative who you consider to be like your niece. They used to marry young children, but those are gone, past times. Why should I be bothered about that? What my culture says, and I'm a man of the 21st century, I should be thinking more rationally. I should be able to think, hey, I can't marry someone who is 6, 7, 9 years old. I can't do that. Because even if she's menstruating, she's not mentally mature enough to decide. I should not simply marry her. Why do I have to be bothered about what Bukhari said? Forget Bukhari even. Why do I have to bother about what Quran says? Why? Because it's not clear. Quran is not clear. So I'm
But,
not.
but I think it's confusing.
Of course, it's confused. It's a
Because
utterly
I'm telling
confusing
you,
book.
because Quran, another verse, it says that it's completed and clear. So this it doesn't mean that that verse of Surah Azab, which telling regarding the marriage of adopted son to Rasul, because Allah knows the Rasul intention. That's
I
why
don't
Allah
care.
saying,
Munshi, I don't care.
no, you don't care, but it's confusing for
Confusing.
intellectual
Of course,
person also.
everything in Quran. Listen to this. Everything in the Quran is confusing. Everything. Even the names of the chapters. Who gave them the names? Who gave the names? Is there
It's
any?
compiled by Usman.
Who told you that? That is a hunch. No,
History telling us
no,
like
history
this.
doesn't say that. No, history doesn't say that. History doesn't say that. History doesn't say that Usman gave the names. No. So who gave the names? We don't know. Which verses should go to which surah? We don't know. Who said the Zabit ibn Thabit collected the Quran? Bukhari. Did Bukhari write the Bukhari? We don't know.
But one thing that Quran says that is complete and clear. I am so confusing
Which
regarding
one?
these verse, because if you see, if we see that there is no verse regarding the environment of the Nordic region, there is no verse in the Nordic region. If you think deep in mind, you couldn't find regarding this issue. Only we can find the hot weather.
Okay. Is there
Supposed to say
the word ice? The word ice.
Middle East, Middle Peninsula, Arab Peninsula region.
The word ice, does it exist in Quran? Ice, snow.
No, there is no verse.
So Quran has, for Allah forgot to mention half of the world.
Yes.
So we have to go
Only
head
half
over
of the
here.
world.
Allah
Only
just forgot, is it?
Yes.
How does it make sense? Tell me something. It's a challenge, yeah? Can I live a perfectly so-called regular Islamic life without even reading a word of Quran? Can I do that?
No, cannot possible.
I can. People will tell you, you are such an Islamic man. You will pray 5 times, the Bukhari and the Imam said. You will give the zakah.
So you have to go the second source and third source.
That's what I'm saying. So people nowadays think they're living Islamic life perfectly by following the Quran, following the tafsir, following the Bukhari, following the tafsir and ijma. They never even probably touched the Quran, right? So that in fact, in reality, Quran has no application in a regular Muslim's life. Zero. Zero application.
Yes. There
So
is there is no ritual we can find
so
without second thought and third source.
according to Quran, we don't even know
Yes.
who the hell is a Muslim. How can I be Islamic? And on top of it, as I said, to be moral, this book is too simple, too ordinary. I mean, this is not appealing at all. I mean, I have read.
Just I think it's the latest version of Talmud and Bible.
Yes.
And context which is included 10 commandments in the Talmud, mostly which is universal and confirmed.
Do I have to read? Do I have to read the Quran to be kind to the poor? Do you think so?
No need.
No.
Simply come.
It's not only that. There are societies who are very kind, who never read the Quran. Do I have to read the Quran to love my mother?
No need.
Do I have to read the Quran to be respectful even to my enemy? But the Quran says the opposite. It tells me that, it's okay, kill and take revenge in my heart. So it's confusing. I mean, I have to be stupid to find morality from humans who were barbarians or who were primitive. So a primitive man can't even teach me how to cook now, but a primitive man or a cave-dwelling man can teach me how to be moral. If that's the case, then Amazon people are better. They are very much moral, but they can't really teach me what morality really means because they are not literate. So Amazon people, they don't rape. The people, the natives of the Amazon river, they don't rape, they don't kill, they're living moral life, but they're all naked. So nudity has nothing to do with being moral, but the Quran is telling you to cover up. But these are all human touch. So these are all societal living terms. So Quran is not good enough for me in that sense either. It's not. Why should I accept it? Why? Any reason? I'm still waiting for both of you here. Any reason for me to accept Quran or even consider it anymore as part of my daily living? For anything, I have to go to Quran. For anything whatsoever, I can say this is the best description ever. For anything, best description ever. The Quran gives me the best description ever, best guideline ever. Not a single thing. Not a single thing. Anything else you want to say, Lara? Lara? Otherwise, we'll end this session. And if you want, we'll do the second version, which is in Bengali. We're ending this English session, okay?